Hi there, how you doing? We are just waiting for the others to join us. Hi, hi. Hi guys, how are you doing? Uh, we have a special guest today. We're going to have
Hello there. Hello, Akbar.
how are you
Hello,
doing?
guys.
Hi,
Hello. Good to see you. How you doing?
good to see you too. What's up?
Well, the weather's a bit gloomy today here in the UK, but other than that, I'm all right. And how are things on
Nice.
your side?
It's cloudy here. It's cloudy and the weather is kind of cool. It's not hot. Maybe you're going to get to the
Mm-hmm.
summer. This is the last month of the spring in Iran, but the
Mm-hmm.
weather is nice here and I like it because my hometown is a small town on the northwest of Iraq. So
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. The weather is okay. It's opposite from other sides of Iran. Some places in Iran are really hot. Some places are really windy and cloudy,
Mm-hmm.
rainy. But here, the place that I live, it's great, awesome. Well,
Brilliant. Good.
yeah, nice. Nice to have you here, and thanks for
Thank you
accepting
for
our
inviting me to
invitation.
join your live. It's a great honor, a pleasure to be part of this live.
Thank you so much. And let's get it started. Just a little bit talk about yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
biography, and this kind of things. Introduce yourself to our followers. They want to know about you.
Oh, hello guys. My name's Anastasia, or people also call me Anna. I live and work in the UK, and I teach ESOL. ESOL stands for English to Speakers of Other Languages, to people of various cultural backgrounds who have come to live and settle in the UK. So, in a nutshell, I am an English teacher, a teacher of English as a foreign language, English that is aimed primarily at speakers of other languages. Yes, so speaking of my learners, they come from different cultural backgrounds, predominantly from Europe, but I also had, in the past, I also had learners coming from Thailand, from China, from Syria. So I have taught various different learners coming from um, all of the parts of the world virtually. Um, I've been a
And
teacher
Have you ever had Iranian students?
uh, no, but we did have some. I think we did have some Iraqi refugees a while
Okay, right.
ago.
Mhm.
Yes. So yes. Speaking of teaching in general, I've been teaching. I've been teaching for good God, over 10 years now, and really enjoy my job. Really like sharing what I know with other people, helping them improve their English, and basically, this is my passion. I've always really been into language, interested in teaching languages and learning languages, in um, exploring other sides of how languages work, the linguistic aspects of languages. So, yes, I'm a language geek. Let's put it that way.
Very good. So you said you're teaching, English as a second language and English as a foreign language. Can you tell us about the difference between the second language and foreign language? What is the difference exactly between teaching to the foreign, those people who English is their foreign language, or those people who English is their second language?
Well, I don't really teach English as a second or a foreign language. I am aware of the different categories that are applied to teaching English. Um, the particular kind of group of people that I teach, they are speakers of other languages. Sorry, they are defined as speakers of other languages. So they don't acquire English as a second or a foreign language. Those are the people who have come to live in the UK, have come to settle in the UK, and they are classed as speakers of other languages. So, in response to your question, what are the difference of English as a second language? You would probably know this better than I do because um, in Iran, you said that people learn English as a second language
as a foreign language.
rather than as a foreign language. So,
No, no, Iran is the opposite. In Iran, we teach English as a foreign language. You know, most of
uh-huh,
the people learn English as a foreign language instead of learning a second language because most of the time we are not exposed by English. You know, it is kind of weird. You know, because our media, our books, and the environment is not in English. So
mm-hmm.
we learn English as a foreign language. So it's kind of a little bit different from the
I
second
think the
language.
difference, just to elaborate, the difference between English as a foreign language and ESOL is that ESOL has this kind of cultural element integrated into our syllabus. So not only do we have to teach the language, we also have to teach the local traditions, the culture, and so everything that comes with living in the UK. So that is probably the difference to
Mm-hmm.
English as a foreign language. So I don't know whether you teach any elements of culture and traditions, or do you just teach general English?
Mm-hmm. Really nice. So, a lot of people ask, how can they learn English? You know, about the learning and acquisition. I say they ask about these two types of education, acquisition or learning, and if they want to learn a language, especially English language, what should they do? What are your suggestions for them? What should they do to learn that
Uh,
to learn English? Yeah.
to learn English, well, first of all, in order to be able to start learning English, you need to know your level. So I would suggest to undergo an English proficiency test,
Mm-hmm.
or your teacher or your instructor, your coach, they should be able to establish your level. And then basically yourself or your teacher, your instructor should take things from there. So what can you do to improve your English? If you're studying English on your own without the help of a teacher, then probably what you can do is listen, practice, do a lot of different activities, access all the possible resources that you can. I would suggest online groups, online bloggers, YouTube videos, everything, every little helps, as we say here. So all the possible resources that you can get access of uh, would help you definitely in improving your language. Um, Speaking of learning a language with a teacher or with an instructor, I think that is the preferred option because a teacher or an instructor can really kind of pinpoint your difficulties and can help you work on your weaker areas of the language, kind of help you to improve your language by focusing on areas that require more development, perhaps. So I don't know what is your take on that? What would you suggest people to do? Would you rather than kind of learn on a self-study basis and explore that option, or would you suggest that they learn with a teacher? What is your take on that?
Mm-hmm. As you said, and it depends on the people, you know, how they want to learn the language. But I think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
having a coach, a person who teaches them how to start, because most of the people they don't know how to begin this journey
Mm-hmm.
of learning the language. You know, I myself, I always say that, you know, you have to learn the language like our mother tongue, and most of the people they get confused and they say, how? I say, did your mom taught you about the grammar directly? She said, for this is the present perfect or present continuous or the future progressive, these kinds of things. They say, no, she didn't say. I said, how did you acquire the language? They said, we
Mm-hmm.
just being exposure. I say, so you have to change your environment, lifestyle to English. If you want to learn English, you have to read English books, listen to English music, listen to English podcasts, watch English movies, these kinds of things. You know, the thing that you did. I say three people. Most of the time, I say this. I say three people can learn the language. Those people who are they're born, you know, with some physical disability. You know, they are not good
Mm-hmm.
in. They're not normal person. You know, and the
Mm-hmm.
second people are who they are deaf. You know, blind people. No, they don't see, but because they hear, they acquire the language. They learn the language. But deaf people, their larynx and pharynx are okay, but because they can't hear it, they can't speak.
Mm-hmm.
But the third people, the third group are the most dangerous people. Among these three groups, they are lazy guys. Always, yeah.
Oh
They
God.
always, yeah. They have all they always have different excuses about different things. They say we'll start from Monday, and then next day, tomorrow, next month, New Year. They always have these kinds of excuses for not starting that. And this
Mm-hmm.
the third group never ever they learn the language. So because they have always excuses. But I say, even blind people, they learn the language. They can't see, but they hear. The hearing, listening is the most important factor to learning a language. Like a
Mm-hmm.
baby. What happens if a baby is born in Iran, but you take him to Los Angeles, to UK, to London, but he starts to learn the language, and English becomes his first language, mother tongue. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's true that his mother tongue or her mother tongue is not, when we go to her mom's countries, it's Farsi, but because he grows up in London, you see he speaks Farsi with English accent, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and English is his mother tongue and first language, because he's exposure, he's surrounded with that native language. And most of the time, we foreigners, those people who want to learn foreign language or second language,
Mm-hmm.
they want to translate, they want to learn the language with the their first language. Okay, now for example, they say hello. In Farsi, we say salam. They want
Uh-huh.
to, yeah, they want to just translate every single word and then shift it to the target language. Sometimes these cultural problems that we have, interfere that we have, say, for example, why do they say that in Iran we don't say that? I say, come on, the culture is different. No,
Yes,
we,
what you're
we
talking
have
about, I
really.
think, is called in linguistics, they call it L1 transfer. So the transfer of your native language patterns into the target language that you are learning. And
Mm,
this is where the difficulties arise. This is where um, people start having difficulties with accuracy when they try and translate word for word from their mother tongue into English. This is where the problem really is. I think in order to improve your English, my advice would be to start to think in English. Start thinking in English. Stop translating in your head and start really thinking, processing your thoughts in English. I know it's difficult to start off with, but gradually, the more you do it, the better you will become at it.
and I always say that language is a skill. It doesn't need intelligence or talent. Say some people say I'm not talented. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
good time for me. I'm old. I can't start that. I say, come on. I say, what do you say? It's a skill, like swimming, like driving, like riding a bicycle, a horse, like skating. You need to practice.
Absolutely.
You need to practice to gain that skill. So when you know this is a skill, and by practicing, by keeping practicing, by keep practicing, you can gain it. You just break those but and like barriers that you had, mental barriers that you
Mm-hmm.
had in your mind about learning a new language. So I say that it's a skill. If I learn it, you can learn it too. The others are speaking, so you can do the same thing. And about English, I say that I say English is one of the easiest languages around the world. I say, they ask me why do you say that? I say, come on, the first thing is about their policy, the second is about their economy, and the third that English is easy to learn. But how about Chinese? Why people can't learn Mandarin? Because over
Mm-hmm.
1.5 billion and 500,000 million people are speaking Chinese, but the other people are not
Mm-hmm.
enthusiastic, interested to learn that language because it's hard to learn. But English is easy. So people should change the way of their thinking. They should learn the methods of learning the language, especially I see, even our educated people who they have PhD, they can't speak English and they have problem with this. I say
Mm-hmm.
why? They write a lot of essays and papers. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they are great in translating, writing. Their writing is the best. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the speaking skill, They say our listening and speaking is the worst. I say speaking and listening and speaking is the easiest skill. They are the easiest skill among these four skills, but they have other ideas. They say, no, we learn the vocabulary by memorizing, we learn the structure, the grammar by practicing, but listening and speaking is difficult. They are difficult. I say, come on. When you were born, two skills that you gained were listening and speaking without writing, you acquired the
Mm-hmm.
language. How? They say, we just listened. I said, did you listen on purpose? They say, no. I say, if you were
Mm-hmm.
born here and your mom took you to Dubai, you would speak Arabic. Did you learn it? Were you going to learn them on purpose? They say, no. I said, come on, you have to learn the same way.
Yeah, but I think
So,
the problem that comes with that approach is that, yes, fair enough, people can listen to the language, but if they don't have many opportunities to practice the language, if they don't have many opportunities to speak, then they are not going to improve. So
mhm,
I can tell you about well, at least two of my learners. There were more cases like that over the 10 years that I've been teaching. So in the recent years, I had a learner who came to me about 2 years ago, who joined my classes with virtually zero English.
mhm.
Um, he couldn't understand a word that I was saying. He couldn't understand the classmates, and he was about to give up. But um, the thing really that influenced his progress was the environment, the fact that he was immersed um, into the English speaking environment, and he was forced to speak English on a daily basis. He had no other way out of that situation other than sorry to speak English. So that helped him to improve a lot. And I also have another learner who keeps coming to my classes, and she says, yes, I understand a lot. I am on top of my grammar. I
Mhm.
know all the English sentences that I need to know. I feel that I understand all the English speakers. I feel that I understand a lot of what is being said to me, but I cannot speak. Words don't come out of my mouth. What do I do? And I say, it sounds like you have very limited exposure to the language. So perhaps you should find opportunities to speak. And going back to your point about speaking and practicing, yes, you need to practice and you need to find every opportunity to speak if you want to improve your speaking. Because speaking, I have to disagree with you, speaking is not the easiest skill to acquire. I think the easiest skill to acquire is listening. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
listening and
you kind of
speaking. Yeah, first listening, then speaking. Yeah, you're right.
listening, I would say probably vocabulary, maybe some elements of reading, why and writing even. For me personally, when I was learning English, writing was way easier than speaking because when I was writing, I could pause, I could think about what I was going to write about. With speaking, you don't have that luxury. You have to speak and you have to be proactive, you have to think on the spot, and you don't have much time to think. If you start pausing, hesitating, then the speakers will move on and they will not be interested in listening to you. So yes, speaking is one of the trickiest skills to acquire, and I think one of the skills that needs more training. So yes, find opportunities to speak, join speaking clubs, join any people who can speak English. Yes, English speakers, native speakers. Yes, cling on to every opportunity.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I just wanted to mention one thing, uh, that I said. Listening and speaking are, in my own opinion, listening and speaking are the easiest skills. Okay, maybe you disagree with this point, but
Mm-hmm.
when we were born, the first step of understanding language was just understanding. Like our kids and our children, they're a year old or 2 years old or one and a half, about 15 months, 16 months. Now you're talking, say, come on, I've lost my keys. Where I put them? Without producing any languages, any words, they go and find it. They say, come on, can you give this, can you pass it to your mom? Without
Mm-hmm.
producing the language, they do it. I say, please put your things away, put the ball away. She or he does it. The first skill is listening without pronouncing any single word. But after that,
Mm-hmm.
they say mama, like daddy, or these kinds of things. So simple words, and we encourage them. You know, for the kids, we encourage them. They are not shy to produce the language. When it goes about the adults, they are shy to produce the language. They say, if I make a mistake, if the thing that I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say is wrong, you know. So this barriers, you know, prevents them from producing the language. I think one of the differences between a kid and an adult is being shy and having
Mm-hmm.
mental barriers. Say, most of the adults want to speak fluently and accurately, but for the kid is not important. The kid
Mm-hmm.
now says whatever comes to his mind. He uses the language and then his pronunciation, his act. He doesn't care about this kind of things. But adults are different. And I wanted to say one thing. And I was reading a book about mind frequency. They said the book said when a baby's born till 2 years old, his mind frequency is four. You know, it's so slow. He's just downloading everything slowly. But a person who is more than 12, his mind frequency is about 35. You know, he can analyze everything. You know, he says what is wrong or what's right. But a kid can't do it till 2 years. And his subconscious mind is not completed till he's three. No, his
Mm-hmm.
conscious mind. After three, his conscious mind works. So he says, what happens? A kid till 2 years, he learns a language, but a person who's upper than 12, that he can understand everything, says this is right, this is wrong, but can't learn a language.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying this. Uh, we want to learn everything on purpose. Say why this happened. We want to find a reason for everything. Why these words means like this. Why it is
Mm-hmm.
written like this. Why it happened. You know, we want, especially we want to learn every language, everything by structure. Say, show me the structure. I want to follow it. I want to follow the tips. We want to know the beginning and the end, the results. But for the kid, it's not the same. For example, I got a phone and I called my mom and talked about many different kinds of things. I talk about the inflation, about the war, about the weather, about
Okay.
everything. What about the kid? Does he want to learn these things? No. But he's just exposure. I say this is the secret key of learning a language. Listen without being noticed. You know, I say you have two ways of listening. You listen on purpose. You listen and repeat, imitate of sentences that I think I told you
Mm-hmm.
before. I
Yeah.
say listen to the daily conversations like topics. For example, these are the techniques that I tell my students, and they improve their speaking skill with these techniques. I tell them to, if you want to learn a language, at first you should learn the daily conversations. For example, what should you say in the restaurant about your favorites, about your family, about your hobbies, hotel services, airports. Okay, according to
Mm-hmm.
these topics, you find 20 or 30 conversations and you practice them as native speakers use this language. Okay, and I say listen, pause the podcast, then repeat it, imitate it. Okay, like them. For example, I say, "What are you gonna wear to the party?" This is the sentence. What are you going to wear to the party? I say
Mm-hmm.
the podcast. You know, when you play the podcast audio, pause it, then you repeat it 5 times. What are you gonna wear to the party? What are you gonna wear to the party? After 5 times, you see, wow, it's
Mm-hmm.
better. Then I say start to tell stories about your marriage, about your school time, about your childhood, neighborhood, about everything. And I say like old ladies start to nag, you know. Old women, most of the time, they nag about everything. They talk and talk and talk. I say, you see a lot
Oh,
of things in your environment. For the weather, you talk about the
you
weather.
made me
What
laugh.
thing you're wearing, yeah. Talk about this kinds of things. Self-talk, self-talk. I really believe in self-talk. It's a miracle in learning the language, you know. That is
So
one of the
just
best
just
techniques.
to elaborate on your techniques, I think when it comes to vocabulary, try and learn. A lot of people just take word lists and they learn just single words. I would suggest you move away from that technique and you start learning, memorizing phrases or chunks, collocations. For so for example, rather than learning a word such as breakfast, learn the set expression that comes with it. Have breakfast, have lunch. Yeah, so learn collocations. Then I think you mentioned dialogues. Yes, it's a good idea to just memorize some of the conversation starters, right? So here in the UK, we like to talk about weather. Weather is an all-time favorite topic for people. So you would start a conversation, but by saying something like "nice weather, in it," and then bit by bit, gradually, you will start the ball rolling, and the conversation will get going. So conversation starters, learn phrases rather than words, individual words. Um, Retelling, yes, that is a good technique. This is what I use with my learners a lot. I give them stories, adapted stories, tailored to their level of the language. And then I would tell them something like, read the chapter from a story, and then when you come to my class next time, try and retell me what you've read, right? In your own words, try to tell me what you read about. So that is another good technique. Yeah, so just to summarize, learning phrases, retelling, and conversation starters. The three techniques that I would suggest you deploy in your improvement strategy.
Uh, Very, very good. And also the other technique that I use it, and I tell my students to do that, it's imagining. I say, imagine you're in a real situation. Imagine you are at the airport, you're talking to the security guard, you want to pass through the security gate. So use the language and you answer and say that, or stand in front of the mirror, talk to yourself, play the roles in your mind. One of the best things is imagining, when you imagine yourself in the real situation, your subconscious mind believes that you're in the real situation. About the conscious and subconscious mind. I don't know. You might have studied about this or not. No, subconscious mind doesn't know about the real picture, reality, and the fake. For example, when you close your mind and you picture something in your mind, the part in your brain that belongs to the side. Now, the more blood flows there, and it works because it thinks that it is happening in the real situation, and it is reality. So when you imagine that you're in that situation, your mind believes it, and your subconscious mind works in it. And skill is like that. You practice something on purpose with your conscious mind, practice it over and over and over, and after
Mm-hmm.
practicing more and more and more, it goes to your subconscious mind, like driving. At the first we were holding the wheel like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's the gear, there's the like gas so pedal, we step on the gas. But we couldn't find that, say nobody talks to us, we were just like dazing on the road. So what happened? Now we don't know who is driving. We just turn on the car. Who drives? It's not us. We listen to music. We think about other. We enjoy the view, landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Who drives? Language
Absolutely.
is the same. Yes, language is the same as that. When we do it, keep practicing for a long time, our subconscious mind learns how to use it. I think this is the super professional part that God has put in our brain. So we have to learn the keys. It's like
The
mathematics, So
building
you do it,
blocks. Yes.
there's
Once you've
others.
learned the building blocks, you can basically put the flesh on the bones, and then really come on with your language. Because without the building blocks, you will not get very far. Because you have to, and this is why you have to ideally have a teacher who could teach you those building blocks. Fair enough if you can pick them up on your own with the help of self-study. But I still think that a teacher would be a better motivator to start off with, and would be a better instructor to lay the ground, to set the grounds, and to help you really get those foundations in the language. So,
Very. Any
uh,
case, any cases that you had in your classes, cases like you're one of your students. Tell us some experiences that you had in your classes about the students, the problems that they had, and how
Well,
did you
I
help them
already
to?
mentioned earlier in the live, I already mentioned a couple of students.
Mhm.
One of them, just to reiterate, one of them came to my classes with zero English, or very basic English. He couldn't express his needs. He didn't understand what was being said. But then over the years, he has improved a lot because he was forced to speak English on a daily basis. He had that daily exposure to the language, and he was forced to speak. So um, forcing yourself out of your comfort zone and trying to find opportunities to speak is the way to improve. So that was the case with one of my learners. So he improved. His language is now, so he came with A0 level and he is now A2. So he has improved a lot. Then the other learner of mine, she came with basic English, and she did improve, but she constantly comments on her inability to produce words. Words don't come out of her mouth. So she says, Anastasia, what do I do? And I say, yes, fair enough. You come to my classes, you try to practice English, but do also try to find opportunities to speak, right? If you want to improve speaking, there is no other way to improve speaking than to actually practice and speak. Some other cases, I don't know. I can't think of any
Let me
other.
ask you other questions. Let me ask you other
Okay.
questions. Yeah, one of our followers asked us to save the live. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I'll save the live. You can rewatch it.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you. Sorry, what was your question?
yeah, I was going to ask you, some people, they learn the language and they come to the UK or they go to the New York, I don't know, US. So when
Mm-hmm.
they are in those countries, UK or the US, they say, come on, they are speaking some different languages. I say they're
Mm-hmm.
not speaking this a different language. It is the accent or dialect is kind of different. For example,
Mm-hmm.
when I was the Australian national volleyball team interpreter, they were speaking in the first day was so confusing for me. They one of their coaches said, Akbar, can we get some ice? I said, what did you just say? Can you repeat that? Can we get some ice? I said, what do you mean by ice? He said, ice. Can we get some
There you go.
ice? Ice. Oh my God. Did you say ice or ice?
That's a typical example of accent variation.
Yeah, yeah, and the other day, the day I think after that, he asked me, is there any cat water right here? I said, any cat water right here? What do you mean by that word? That sentence is kind of what did you say? It's a cat water. I said, cold water. Cold water, you mean? I said, yeah, yeah, cold water. I said, come on, why are you speaking with this accent? So this is the Australian accent, and also every city has its own accent, and we have our own slangs too. Oh my God. Uh,
Mm-hmm. This is very much the case in the UK as well. You're probably aware that there's a great variation in terms of accent and dialects in the UK. I live in Yorkshire, and Yorkshire accent is a well-known accent and dialect. Um, Speaking of accents and dialects, so for example, in Yorkshire, where in standard English, in RP, you would say Monday or bus, people in Yorkshire would say Monday or bus, right? So the A would get changed to O, right? Um, so money would become money, for example, right? Somebody's commented, how accent is so horrible. That's the Yorkshire accent as well. Um, you have to get used to it, okay? If you live in Yorkshire, inevitably you will pick up things like love, so terms of endearment, yeah, for example. So if you go to a shop, a shop assistant might ask you, "You all right with your packing, love?" Yeah, so like up north, in the northeast, people would use petal. So it's kind of a friendly way of addressing someone, right? So love is used a lot in Yorkshire, and that doesn't mean to say that a person loves you. That is just a friendly term to show some kind of attachment, or maybe to show some positivity, and just to be very welcoming. The other thing in relation to the Yorkshire accent and dialect is that in Yorkshire, people use different words for different things. So, for example, a girl would be called a lass. Lass. How are you doing, lass? How are you doing, girl? A boy would be called lad. You all right, lad? Right?
I didn't know that.
Nothing in Yorkshire would be nout. Nout. There's nout left. There's nothing left, for
Nothing
example.
left.
Yes, nout. Anything would be out, right? And the classic example that I can think of that is being used very often in Yorkshire dialect is tea. You would have thought that tea is a drink, right? But tea in Yorkshire is also an evening meal. Evening meal that people eat is called
Oh,
tea. So if I was to ask you, what are we having for tea? What are you having for tea? That means, what are you having for your evening meal? So here's Yorkshire
kind of
for you.
surprising. Yeah, kind of surprising. It means if you get professional in the language, English language, you have to go and live in the area for a few months, and then after that you'll get used to the new language, new culture, new language, dialect also.
Absolutely. I have to say, many people have commented on my accent. When I first came to the UK, I kind of tried to use the standard way of speaking English, because this is what we were taught at school in my home country. And then people were commenting, Yorkshire people, who I interacted with, they were saying, "Oh, you speak very posh. We don't speak like that in Yorkshire." And then over the years, some of the people started telling me, "Oh, you've picked up some Yorkshire accent. And I did notice that instead of other, I very frequently say other, other matters, other language. So subconsciously, you do pick up the language features that surround you, and that gradually get into your dialect. So it's good, it's great, because you're surrounded by that language, so inevitably you will pick up some features of that.
Exactly. That was kind of amazing, and also really interesting for me to learn something new about the Yorkshire's accent and dialects. Really,
Yes,
would you like to
there
have a
are.
tea? What would you like to have for tea?
What
Means
are you having for tea means, what
what
are you
are you
having
having
to
for tea?
eat
Actually, what are you having for the evening meal?
for the evening meal? Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
uh,
good.
so yes, there are some other accents spoken in the UK, some quite prominent accents. There's Cockney accent, there's Geordie accent, which is spoken up north, in the northeast, in Newcastle, that area. Then there's Liverpool accent, Scouse, and yeah, there's Birmingham accent. Yeah, so accentual accent variation is very prominent. It is present in the UK, and I have to say that people don't treat any other people differently in terms of in relation, sorry, to what accent they speak. So we accept. We encourage that accentual variation, and there isn't any different attitude. There isn't a difference in the attitude that anyone shows. Yes, a Londoner might pick up on a Yorkshire accent, so straight away they might ask you a question, or are you from North? Historically, there was this north-south divide in terms of language, but accents and dialects and different culture generally is very much embraced in the UK. So people are free to speak different accents, dialects, and we have all sorts of other people who kind of come and settle to live in the UK. and with them they bring elements of their own culture, which is very much embraced. And I have to say it's great. It's great to live in the UK because it is such a culturally diverse country.
Yeah. We had a teacher in our university when I was studying my BA at university. My BA is teaching English as a foreign language, so I majored in that. We had a
Mm-hmm.
teacher. He was a PhD student in Oxford, and he just a semester he was teaching us in Iran. He told us
Mm-hmm.
about the different accents in the UK. He said I was in the yard, I'm in the campsite, and one guy came to me. He started to talk. I really couldn't understand what he's talking about. I said, "Come on, are you speaking English?" He said, "Oh my God, you didn't get what I said." Our teacher said, I said, come here, were you speaking English? He said, yes, but I'm from the south of the UK, so it was
Mm-hmm.
speaking totally different from the standard English. I mean, and, you know, when you learn a language, you have to go and live in that country to learn about the different language, different accents. So this is one of the problems that most of these English students have. You know, they learn the language, standard language, so when they go to the country,
Absolutely. I
they
can
get the
absolutely
great
relate to that.
country.
This is exactly how I felt when I first came to the UK. I thought, oh, I'll be just fine. Prior to coming to the UK, I studied English for 11 years, so, I'll be all right. I'll manage. And then when I came to Yorkshire, I thought, oh boy, how wrong I was. Because I couldn't understand a word that Yorkshire people was, well, I could get the gist, but when it came to things like Monday or, eating up of the sounds, because what we see in textbooks is not the language that is spoken in the real life. You have to make you make an assumption that what we see in textbooks is how people speak, but that is not the case. You've only got to listen to British speakers to understand that. Uh, in real life, people speak much faster, they use colloquial expressions, and generally it is drastically different to what you see in textbooks.
And one thing that you said, native speakers really speak really fast now. But most of the learners, they say, "Come on, would you mind speaking slowly?" So, come on, native speakers will not wait for you to
Mm-hmm.
listen carefully. Say, will you repeat it again? I said, "Come on, like if you go to the UK, London, you will not be able to ask them, please speak slowly. Okay, once for a sentence, that's okay, but not for all of the conversations. Little
Yeah,
by little, no, step by step, word by word, just say this and okay, what did you just say? Water or water? I say, and then he or she says, okay, did you learn it? I say, they will speak fluently, and you have to guess what they are talking about. What are they talking about? Say, I tell my students, listen without thinking, just think, listen and guess. In that case, you will learn. At first, maybe you guess one word. After 1 week, you will guess 2 words, 3 words. After 3 months, you'll see, oh my God,
absolutely.
yeah, understanding the whole context. So
So
that's
this is a great strategy to use, and I think that is very helpful when you come to practice your reading as well, because when you read, you can pause, you can stop, and if you encounter a word that you don't know, you can probably guess it from the context, right? So just look at the words that surround your target word and try and guess the meaning from the context. And I think exactly the same thing applies to speaking. Yes, try and figure out individual words by looking at what is being said subsequently. Yeah, so try and figure out words from the context. And speaking of the fact that native speakers don't slow down, yes, generally they don't slow down. But in the UK, I have found that native speakers and, generally speaking, all of the English speakers in the UK, they are quite sympathetic. So if you ask them to pause, if you ask them to explain things for you, they will happily do that. So, you know, don't be afraid to ask. I've come across an expression the other day that my manager at work used, and I didn't understand. And I said, "Please, could you slow down? Please, could you explain that to me?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah, no problem with that." So don't be afraid to ask people to explain things for you. Sometimes people are that shy, they're that scared, they think that other people will find their comments or questions embarrassing. No, they won't. You know, think about people who are learning your language, right? If there are any foreigners who would come and live in your country, and they would try and attempt to speak your language, would you not be friendly towards them? Would you not welcome them speaking your language? Of course you would. You would pause, you would explain things to them. And, you know, English speakers, they used to foreigners, you know, trying to speak, trying to learn the language. So they are very sympathetic when it comes to explaining.
Yeah, that's true. You should not be afraid of using the language, and that is really important. That is really important. Most of the students, as I told you, most of the time, adults, they are ashamed or they shy to use the word about the pronunciation, dialect, structure. To say if I say and it becomes wrong, that's not important.
I say this
You
to
know,
my learners as
actually,
well.
you
Nobody's
don't.
gonna slap you
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
if you
I
make a
always tell my
mistake.
students, they ask me, teacher, why don't you correct us? I say we have three kinds of correction. Say teacher correction, fish correction, self-correction. Okay, I'll
Mm-hmm.
correct you, but in its own right time. I say we never trim a tree when it grows. We let the tree grows higher and
Mm-hmm.
higher to get its achieve its own potential, and after that we trim it. You know, you can't you can't trim a tree when it is like a stalk, a small stalk. Okay, you never do that. You just feed it and let it grow. I say like a mother never corrects his children her children about speaking. So just encourages very well. What did you say? Repeat it. Okay, I'll repeat you. And for example, a semester, a month or 2 months, and after that, I start to correct them. And without being noticed, I don't direct them,
Mm-hmm.
I correct them directly because I know that if I do that, they will have other problems. Say, okay, teacher is gonna correct us. Teacher is gonna correct us. I let the class, my own classes. We have free stress environment. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
students never feel stress in our classes. I let them just speak. I say, come on, your friend, your classmate doesn't know that you're making a mistake. Okay, you're speaking no in the wrong way. Just say it. And I
Mm-hmm.
laugh. I never correct them in public, in front of their classmates. Or the
Yes,
other
that's
thing,
good.
yeah, yeah, and other
Sorry to
things,
interrupt.
yeah. I ask them to record the video of themselves, of their speaking. For example,
Mm-hmm.
our first session is about introductions and names. The second
Mm-hmm.
unit is about the describing people, about appearance. The third is about clothing. The fourth is about the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Every session, I ask them to record the video of themselves and send it to me. Um, 1 unit, 1 minute. Now they have to stand in front of the camera, talk they have to introduce themselves about their age, cell phone number, I don't know, the email address, how do they spell their names, how do they know me, where do they live, and these kinds of things about their introducing themselves. Then it takes about a minute. The second unit, I
Mm-hmm.
say unit 1 and 2. The fourth unit, I say unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. For example, in unit 4, they speak 4 minutes in front of the camera. They record. Maybe they erase that video for 10 times or more than 20 times. It's important. I say, come on, that is the good point. You are practicing to make the
Mm-hmm.
best video of yourself. So you're practicing your language. You're producing the language. They record it and they send it. After a month that we hold 8 sessions, in 8 sessions, they speak 8 minutes nonstop about themselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And they use,
brilliant.
yeah, really. And it is one of the good techniques that I'm using in my classes. For example, after 3 months, they speak 25 minutes, 30 minutes in front of the camera, non-stop, because they are every session they're practicing the same conversations and the same sentences. So they say, come on, unbelievable. In 3 months, we're speaking. One of my students last week, she texted me, she sent me a voice. She said, teacher, I can't believe in 8 sessions, I was speaking to the foreigners, tourists, foreign tourists.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it wasn't professional, I'm speaking, but she could communicate.
Yes,
She
so
could
at least
communicate.
I think your strategy is very good for building confidence, for overcoming a language barrier. So when people come to us with a language barrier, I think that I might even take it on board. I've never thought of integrating videos into a syllabus that way. So thank you very much. That's a great strategy that I would also take on board. And yeah, speaking of language barriers, many people come to us, to teachers, saying, yes, you know, I understand, going back to that topic of understanding and not being able to say a word. So you need to overcome that language barrier. Many people have the language barrier. What is the language barrier? A language barrier is basically something that stops you from communicating, stops you from expressing yourself in the target language. So I think your strategy, going back to your strategy, is very good for indeed for overcoming that language barrier, for building on that confidence. Great, and good to hear that you've got some visible results. So obviously it works. It does work.
Yeah, it really works. And in 6 months, I told my students, you know, I have some counselors. They are educationists. I
Mm-hmm.
asked them some questions about my courses, and I talked to some psychologists that what should I do to overcome this problem that my students are
Mm-hmm.
shy, they can't speak, or they don't want to participate in the class, this kind of things, and they helped me. They give me some advices. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I tell my students, if you 6 months, just 6 months do this, English will go to your subconscious mind, and after 6 months, you will talk, and these words come to your mouth, and you will not know where they are coming from. Are they coming from your mind, outside?
Exactly.
Yeah, it happens after now, and then because my course is about 9 months, 9 months is okay. 6 months they learn about to speaking daily conversations, daily dialects. Uh, the seventh, eighth, and ninth months are about giving lectures. Now they go, I give the topic about friendship, about the success of business. They have to go and surf on the net about these topics. They have to find some
Mm-hmm.
articles, read them, and retell it in the class. After three
Okay.
months, they say, "Wow! In 9 months, no 9 months, we are not just able to speak English; we are giving lectures." So this is one of
Exactly.
the points
Delivering
about, yeah,
talks. Brilliant.
yeah.
That
So
is so great.
if we suppose as a compliment about myself, I'm just boasting myself. Yeah.
Are you trying to sell yourself? Okay, showing off. I'll let you off.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, but I do like your strategy. I think it's great to make learners record a video. I think it's a great technique. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there
What they have learned? They use the sentences they've learned, in the unit. So that's good.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here, and really nice conversation. One of the best lives I've ever had, and I really liked it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Agba, and thank you for inviting me to take part in your live. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it a lot. You can't imagine how happy I am for having you here.
I hope our
Uh,
followers also enjoyed listening on. And please, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and generally comment on how you felt, whether you liked it or not, and have you taken something away from this live?
There's just one thing wrong here. Most of my followers, they are not able to understand English. So, other lives that I had with foreign teachers, I was translating some sentences, the thing that the teacher was saying. But this
Okay.
conversation was really awesome. They have to just focus, or they will ask me about what did she say. So I have to translate
Mm-hmm.
your words, in other live or in the caption. These kinds of things I'll explain. And I'm sure a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people come to watch this live to understand a lot of things about different methods and different things about English, about accents, dialect in the UK, and this kind of things. And your methods also, your methods to teach that you said you about your cases that you said at the beginning they were zero, but then they improved
Exposure
and
to the language, yes.
yeah.
Exposure to the language is of paramount importance, I think. So, if you want to improve any skill, not just the speaking skill, Practice is the key. The more practice you get, the better you will be at the language.
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. That is my motto. Practice makes perfect.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And I think it's almost about
Thank you.
55
Thank you to
minutes.
everyone who is watching and who will watch this as part of the rewatch. So thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you and have a nice weekend. I think it's your
Have
weekend,
a
yeah?
nice rest of the day. Have a lovely weekend. And yeah, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, we will keep in touch and we will have other lives together too about different techniques.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ta-da. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. بچه خب خیلی عالی بود. Anna, I'm just explaining in Farsi about this live, so thank you so much for being here. بچه امیدوارم که خوشتون اومده باشه. خانم آنا یکی از مدرسین خوب زبان انگلیسی هستن که در یورکشیر انگلستان ساکنن و لایو خیلی خوبی داشتیم. امیدوارم که به درتون بخوره و لذت برده باشید. من این لایو رو سیو میکنم و حتما برید ببینید، لذت ببرید در مورد تکنیک های یادگیری زبان و اینا. آخرین چیزی که گفتیم در مجموع این بود که practice makes perfect، یعنی توانا بود هر کی تمرین کنه. اوکی. thank you so much. بچه هر سوالی هم داشتید مرسی هر سوالی هم داشتید دایرکت سوال بفرستید که سوال بکنیم و جواب بدیم.